Yes, my people, as the hot, it don't happen, no. They don't fucking give Tinubu moto. Our person with a campaign go be public to yourself. Tinubu, this message now for you. Please, my prudent family, make an attack Tinubu see what this man talk. And after they attack Tinubu, make una see share the video, make other people when they say I beg Tinubu. This man finish you. I beg. When I share them, when I watch I beg.
And on the fact of what you have raised with respect to the candidate of the APC, you need to take a close check on the many candidates, presidential candidates that are involved in this election. It is only the presidential candidate of the APC that is very busy using abusive languages. When you hear any other person progressing in error, they may be spokespersons, not presidential candidates. That tells you that many other presidential candidates in this election have tried as much as possible to be very presidential in their comments and in their behavior. But the only one that is behaving as if he does not understand what the office of the president entails is the presidential candidate of the APC. And I know you understand why that is so. We are not medical.
So I would want you to let us know, I mean, especially our viewers, what exactly you think is making Tinubu to actually sound like an opposition candidate himself, like some Nigerians are saying. All right, Charles, I don't know if you could actually hear me clearly. I'm saying that I would want you to actually be very specific in telling us what the issues are, because I don't know what the issues are that you're referring to, and why is Tinubu sounding like an opposition presidential candidate rather than that of a governing party?
Tinubu is already losing ground, and he's very much aware that he's losing ground. He's losing ground because he has become his greatest demarketer. He's losing ground because he's scoring so many own goals. Even when you are in a match with those who may not have the capacity in terms of the players that you parade in your club, and you end up scoring many own goals, obviously you are going to lose that match. So the challenge of Tinubu today is not even only the abysmal performance of his party, or his very, very, very controversial past, whether in terms of his deals with drug cartels that led to issue of forfeiture of a reasonable amount of money in the United States of America, or the things that he's doing with those persons who live in Lagos, to the extent that if you come to Lagos today, you cannot even see a single poster of any other political party. Those are not even his greatest undoing. His greatest undoing today is his state of health, mentally. So when you see him attack not even only the opposition political parties, but attacking the very foundation of his political party. Today, the recent policies of the APC, the very recent policy of the APC that is very strong, is the Naira redesign, and then of course the issue of what is happening with respect to petroleum. And what is Tinubu saying about them? He is practically attacking the presidency of his party, while at the same time inadvertently making it clear that he meant it when he went to Ogun some months ago and talked about the very famous, or you may want to say infamous, Emilokan, which means he places himself, his interest, far above every other Nigerian. The Naira redesign will affect him because you recall the issue of the bullion van, which today they are telling us missed its way. I don't know when bullion van forgot the location to a bank, because bullion bank is supposed to move between CBN and other commercial banks. So for the bullion van persons not to understand that Tinubu's house is not a bank, including the policemen, the security men that accompanied that bullion van, all of them missed their way. And they did not even locate my house. They decided to locate Tinubu's house. Tinubu himself has claimed whose business it is if bullion vans came to his house. But to tell you that even his media handlers perhaps need to go back to school. When the man have accepted that it's none of our business if his house played host to 2 bullion vans, they are now telling us that those bullion van drivers took Ogogoro and did not know the direction to their bank, and they decided to end up in Tinubu's house. Well, that is a topic for another day, except you want us to progress along that line. What? So for us in the PDP, we are very pleased with the way the media is interrogating all these issues. Because like I said earlier, if you demand an okra soup, you'll be rest assured that there will be crayfish in that soup, there will be maggi in that soup, there will be possibly some element of vegetable in that soup, yet you call it okra soup because that's the major ingredient. So all these other issues we are discussing are part of the bigger issues in this election.
All right, Charles, if I may cut in there now, your presidential candidate is also saying that he thinks that this issue of Naira redesign ought to be revisited by the APC-led federal government, saying that, look, a lot of queues are here and there. And coincidentally, not quite long ago, President Muhammadu Buhari just said, look, he understands the challenges that are ongoing, but that the CBN has been given fresh directives to ensure that the Naira supply of the new notes is in huge quantum, so that in the few days left, a lot of Nigerians will have this new Naira notes before the January 31st deadline. But talk to us about why Atiku is also joining these calls for an extension of the Naira redesign, or what specifically he's saying when he says that, look, this Naira supply of new notes should actually be made more available.
Atiku is very much interested in the survival of our economy. Atiku believes that the resign is in order, but that in doing so, you must take into cognizance how it affects Nigerians and how you can use timelines to be able to mitigate the effect of the redesign. For instance, you go to a number of ATMs in front of most of the banks, there's no more funds in those ATMs. When an ATM for a whole day, for the other day I was in Asaba, and in one of the banks, about 7 ATMs are in that, but none of them has any fund in it, because the central bank have asked them not to load the ATM with the old notes, and unfortunately, they don't have the new Naira note. Most of these individuals, Nigerians who want to have access to 10,000, 5,000 for the purpose of carrying on with certain economic activities, don't have access to them because the ATMs don't have these funds. And so even if you want to redesign, Atiku says monies must still be made available for Nigerians to continue their day-to-day economic activities, because not doing so will further strangulate our economy that is already in a very, very comatose situation. For Atiku, his own is the survival of our economy. And if you also see the admittance by the central bank and indeed the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that they appreciate the challenges and that effort will be made for the purpose of providing these new Naira notes, is because if a lady has brought in, or a man has brought in 5,000 Naira to deposit in his account, you don't just lock up the 5,000 and say go home and then begin to use your card. Because the person may want to go and buy 550 Naira, something that he may not want to bother to use card, because the amount of money you are even going to take away when he does that is something else. Secondly, whether we like it or not, it's not all businesses that are also driven by these economic platforms, that by these technological platform that we're introducing. It is good. For the PDP, there is nothing wrong with the policy. But what we believe, and our presidential candidates, is that in doing this, carrying out these policies, do it in such a way that our economy is not affected. Today, the timeline is already causing some pain. Not because in the...
Charles, the APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu is insisting that Atiku Abubakar and some of his, some of the PDP's friends in government are actually, using these policies against his chances. And I want you to talk to us specifically, because we had heard the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, saying sometime last year that somebody in the presidential villa has promised Atiku Abubakar the presidency, and as a result of that, Tinubu seems to be singing towards that area. That looks like some policies by the APC-led federal government emanating from the villa with support from President Buhari seems to be paving the way for Atiku. What do you make of all of that allegation?
Tinubu is having his way with this many accusations against our president, because our president is not used to joining issues with individuals. Let me remind you, when the APC had its primaries, you recall as soon as Tinubu was declared leader, the winner of that election, the first thing he said was more like a threat to our president. He said, it is time to pay you back, that I intentionally made you to wait for me today because I've always been waiting for you, that you too should also suffer what I have already suffered. We also have it very, very in a good authority that even in his closer circle, Tinubu has made it clear that in the event that he wins, that he is going to also take steps to deal with President Buhari and those who have worked very closely with him. And what are his reasons? He told them that Buhari did not allow him to make the kind of money he's making in Lagos. So he wants the national purse to also be made available to him, the way he has had access to the Lagos revenue. Tinubu believes that there are persons he brought into the economy that in the course of time, a very good example is Fowler, the man that was running our internal revenue, that the Buhari in the course of time have to take away. He is not happy. And so all these comments you are hearing from him
Charles, do you have facts to back that statement you're actually saying? Because Tinubu has said earlier that he doesn't want any contract from the Buhari administration, and he has always stayed away and all of that. But this is actually a very fresh allegation, and we would want you to enlighten our viewers more on the source of that information.
I am not... Sumner, I said in his closer circle, and I gave you an example of the first thing he said the day he was declared winner of the presidential primary of APC. You can go back and play the tape and hear what he said, what he told the president. He said, the president, today I have also decided to pay you back. That was the first thing, his first comment. What was he paying him back? That he was the one who kept the president waiting. That he too has continued to that all the time. He's the one who waits for the president. Now the president have to wait for him. Only by becoming a presidential candidate, not a president of the country. He's already threatening as to what he's going to do to our president in the event that he becomes the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Whether you like it or not, the APC government may not have done so well. But there are certain things you cannot take away from President Muhammadu Buhari. And so for anybody who threatens him, that when he comes in, he's going to take steps to undermine his comfort after he leaves office, as Nigerians who must be very much interested. Tinubu, even if he's of the APC, and I'm happy you said, he's complaining about his party, he's attacking the president, who is the petroleum minister, he's telling that people who are in the presidency, and I don't know whether Atiku is the one in the presidency. When he says the people in the presidency, the number one occupant of the presidency is President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, the other time, he said that those who PDP brought in to be in charge of the petroleum industry. He forgot that in the first 4 years, he was one of those who said that they had been able to stop the issue of fuel queues. Meanwhile, those people he claimed were given this opportunity by the PDP were still the ones who were supplying these petroleum products. Tinubu, sometime in 2011, but then going into 2012, led the Save Nigeria group to say that the attempt to remove fuel subsidy was an attempt on the life of Nigerians. Today, Tinubu is singing a different song. Nigerians must continue to interrogate everybody, and that's why I like what those of you in Arise and other TV stations are doing. Interrogate these issues. PDP, Atiku Okowa will not accuse the media of becoming meddlesome interlopers, because we are very much mindful of the provision of Section 22 of the Nigerian Constitution that makes it the business of the media to examine everybody, particularly those of us who are in government, for the purpose of holding us accountable, not only to the promises of we have made, but to the oath that we have sworn to.
Oh, all right, if I may interject here.
So please, Sambo.
Charles, let me come in very clearly here.
Don't be intimidated by what the APC and the media team are doing.
Of course, we will never be intimidated by any person, because we are serving the public, and our license is being held in trust for the people of Nigeria. And I want to bring this issue to your notice. I mean, political observers are saying that Atiku Abubakar seems not to be attacking President Muhammadu Buhari. He seems not to be attacking the APC-led federal government. And I bring this back to you. Is it because somebody, according to Governor Nyesom Wike, has promised Atiku Abubakar something, I mean, and that person is in the presidential villa? Why is Atiku Abubakar not coming out like the way Tinubu is doing to hit hard at the APC-led federal government or the president, I mean, in the light of what we've seen in the past and heard in the past?
If you are a player in the Super Eagles and then you are losing a match to Argentina, and then you come out and then the coach and everybody is attacking Diego Maradona, what good would that do to your club? Diego Maradona has played his role a long time ago. He's no longer one of the players. President Muhammadu Buhari is about leaving office. He has done the best that he could in the circumstance. Perhaps the limitations of his abilities to be able to deal with issues possibly accounted for the many failings of his administration. But you cannot take away the feelings of his administration to the infighting that he has continued to go through in the APC. We now hear that the special purpose vehicle called APC, which of course is a measure of many other political parties that you know very well, that I don't need to waste time talking about. Today, those who came in on the platform of the ACN led by Tinubu have shown clearly that they were not in full support of Muhammadu Buhari. You could see a number of persons in the CPC supporting Muhammadu Buhari today. They want to stand with him up to the end of his administration. But that cluster that came from APC, led by Tinubu, are now the one attacking the man. Why do you want to attack Atiku? To be joining issues with a man who is not on the ticket to run to contest with him. That's one. Secondly, Atiku want to stay with the issues. The issues are very, very clear. Whether you blame APC from here to Jericho, that is not going to change the very bad situation that we're in as a country. Atiku has been very, very presidential. Atiku and his running mate want to focus attention on those many issues, particularly the 5 thematic areas, which deals specifically on the issue of the very divisive country that we're in now. So the state of our unity, the state of insecurity, the state of the economy, the state of our education, and the need to give power to the component units in this country and make them become much more functional. Those have been the preoccupation of Atiku and his running mate, and indeed the PDP. There are other ancillary issues, just like I talked about the issue of okra soup, that may have some other ingredients that we have also in the course of time to and address. So if you also notice, Atiku have not also been in the business of attacking Tinubu. Tinubu is the only one in this election who have not been presidential in his comment. Did you hear him say that P2B is quoting statistics and say, now statistics will go chop? Is that what should come from somebody who should be our president? That could come from a spokesperson and some passerbys.
As we try to round off this conversation, I want to put it to you that Governor Nyesom Wike says that somebody in the APC-led presidency has promised Atiku Abubakar something in 2023. Can you confirm to us if anyone has promised Atiku Abubakar anything? And then secondly, this is what Tinubu is saying. I want to quote him verbatim. He's saying that they met good oil prices for 16 good years. They didn't remember gas pipelines. They are what I call saboteurs yesterday. They gave PMS licenses to their supporters and sympathizers. They are the ones who started creating fake queues. And lastly, he says, PDP, enough is enough. What do you have to say about this? Because the governing party's candidate is asking you, the main opposition, to please hold on, because he says you're putting so much pressure on him and enough is enough. These two questions before we let you go.
Well, for us, we don't play the ostrich. I wouldn't know where our leader, Governor Wike, got his information from. But we are not like the APC that started attacking Obasanjo as soon as he endorsed P2B. We would have also wished that Obasanjo join us in our quest, just like he did in 2019. So if President Buhari or anybody in the presidency is supporting us, we will be happy because we need them to support us. Politics is a game of number. We need the support for us to be able to, not because of winning, but because with such support, you would have been able to reduce the effort that we're going to put in addressing the many challenges, because it means that you are going to have lesser persons opposing your actions. So if those in the presidency have decided to see that Atiku is a better candidate, it means they are agreeing with us. You recall what I said the other day, that President Buhari saw what many governors did not see of the APC. He knew that Tinubu couldn't have been a better choice for Nigerians. And so since they didn't go his way, the man is at liberty to, because he loves this country, to be able to begin to look in the direction of Atiku. So if he's doing that, and we pray God that he looks in our direction, because doing so means that at least we have some very, very wonderful basic support. Because Buhari has what you may call a standing army. Whether anybody likes it or not, there have always been more than 12 million votes that is indicative for him. So if he supports us, it means that Atiku has inadvertently become the heir apparent to the 12 million vote that Buhari is credited to have in the course of time. Now to the other issues you raised, Tinubu is seeing losing this election very clear. And so he's looking for one straw or the other to hold. Each one he holds, he falls apart. He started by holding a milocon, which means it's his turn. That one is not holding water. They even went and procured the services of one man who called himself an aide to a presidential candidate, even when he's not, to begin to cook up stories. That one did not also hold water. They even have to invite my brother, Festus Keyamo, to see how they can put petrol inside the story. Yet, the petrol became water. It didn't hold water. So, if you hear him accusing people, it is part of holding that straw, because the campaign machinery and all the lies that the APC is used to is falling in the wrong places, and they are not holding water. So Sambo, I can tell you many more of such accusations will come, but